And we get situations in church where people come and, you know, I've been in 1,000 church services, y'all. So this isn't to throw shade or anything to anyone, I promise you. But we do this thing. I'm gonna tell you one thing we always do, not always, that I've seen done 100 times though, is this thing where people during the offering time, right? It's you raising the money and you're telling these stories to people and like trying to play on their heartstring to get them to give some money. And one of the things that I've seen done before is like, you know, you want that car, you got to give your way to that car. You want that house, like God gonna bless you with a new house. I need, you know, X amount of people to stand up and give this amount of money and God's gonna do it. Now look, I promise I'm not throwing shade. That's not my intention. This is super important to talk about because I want to really think about that situation. If I take a person that is financially illiterate, right? Like they are not educated as it relates to finances and money. They don't maybe have good credit. Again, this isn't to shade anybody. I've been in this situation. This is a real life example. If I take this person and I simply tell them, hey, stand up in the church and give $100 and God is going to bless you with some material thing. I'm really limiting and minimizing the real impact of this entire experience with God. That person isn't even prepared to receive the blessing that I'm promising them. What am I saying? You telling them they're going to get a Benz. This person doesn't regularly go get oil changes on their Honda. Hello. Honda oil changes $35. Benz oil change, $300, $350, $400. It gets up there, people. What am I saying? I'm saying that we end up taking advantage of people who are illiterate in a particular area, promising them something that they can't even handle. And then, let's be real. Appreciate it, Crystal. When they don't get blessed and nothing happens, we just come back to the next anniversary, the next year's service, and do the exact same thing again. We keep copying and pasting, telling people the same thing. Your breakthrough is coming. This is coming. If you give this amount of money, your breakthrough is coming. Listen, man, I know how much a Gucci shirt costs. I know how much some Yeezy shoes cost. I know how much a Jaguar car costs. I know how much a Honda and a Toyota costs. But like, you can't put no price on no blessing from God. I said it, buddy. You can't put no price on no blessing. You have to be careful putting price tags on things in church. Like, because what happens, right? And I'm going to move on from this in a second. You put people in a mentality like a shopping mall mentality. And the reality of it is, like, you feel me, Crystal? Like, we really shouldn't want people coming to church with a shopping mall mentality and looking on the wall and saying, how much is that? How much is this? Because at the end of the day, like, this is about lifestyle. This isn't about, first of all, self-righteousness. You do this, you get that. Like, it doesn't necessarily work like that. And I'm going to break it down further because God might have you in a place. Ooh, I like that. God is not for sale. I really like that. Actually, Crystal, if I was thinking, that would have been the name of this episode. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it up midway through the show. As if you knew. Anyway, we got to be careful, though, with this idea of, I love that God is not for sale. Like, that shopping mall mentality, it can make you self-righteous because the reality of it is this. God might have me in a season in my life where he wants me giving, right? Let's say God wants me doing things for people, helping people, and just giving, but giving by faith. See, if you giving by faith, there is no promise that you're going to get a Benz because you gave $100. First of all, a Benz don't cost $100. Bingo. Yeah, I said it. Doesn't cost a hundo. Doesn't cost a hundo. It's all good, Crystal. So you're creating this false image for people that they could come to church, almost play church like the lottery, put $100 in, pull the slot, and a benzo pops out. Pull the slot and a husband pops out. Pull the slot and a family pops out. And it's like, bro, hold on, let's speed this down. Let's slow it down. I said speed it down on purpose. Okay, I'm not crazy. God may actually be dealing with you in a way, dealing with me in a way where he like, nah, Jay, I just want you like I might be pruning your heart. I might be changing something in you, and I need you to give, right? And maybe what you're going to receive, the blessing isn't going to be something tangible, right? Maybe it's going to be something internal. And so now, instead of you putting a price tag that, hey, I spend $100, I get a pair of Nikes, maybe it's like, nah, bro, I want you just giving. You don't even know, you will know when you need to stop, but every week just give right now. And then now on top of that, that giving may look a little different. Maybe it's $50 in church this week and $50 tip to a waitress or a hostess somewhere at a restaurant, or maybe it's a $20 tip to the valet service guy. And so the other thing that we do when we put this shopping mall mentality on the people of God in church is we limit everything to church. And I'm gonna talk about why this happens in a minute, but we limit everything to church. And then so you have Christians that go to church and give, but then go to the restaurant and can't give a good tip. And they are maybe some of the most rude people. And I'm not saying that every Christian is this way, but I'm saying this is the mentality that can be created when we tell people, hey, come to church and give this amount and God is going to do this. We limit God. We think we are like making some people better. We're limiting people's perspective of God because God might want you to give outside of the church. It may be like you may need to give more. Like $100 may not be enough for what God wants to give you. And then money may not even be the thing he wants you to give, right? It may be your service. It may be your time, because money isn't everybody's vice. And the other problem with preaching that is some people got money. So for them coming and giving $100, $1,000 ain't nothing. Now I have to talk about the other side of why this happens sometimes. And this is going to be tough. This is something else I thought about. Man, it's almost no way for me to say this other than just say it. I think one of the reasons that so many churches find themselves in compromising spots for asking for money, not all churches, because some churches got millions and they still getting people. But sometimes it's because you started a church before you even had your foundation together personally in your life. And so you started a church and you need money. Or you started a church and you're not financially literate or financially savvy, meaning you don't know how to raise money, you don't know how to rally money, you don't have a business mind, you don't know how to manage money, you don't know how to leverage money, you don't know. And this is not a shot, but it's something that's reality, especially from where I'm from. And, you know, our culture, you know what I'm saying, where a lot of times you starting from the bare minimum and the bottom. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell you something. When I read, whose book was this in? This was in Booker T. Washington's book, Up From Slavery. And he talked about when the slaves were freed, there were two jobs that they went after: politician and preacher. And right, those were two ways that they can use their, whether you have to gift the gab or something, and you can go and make money, right? So when preaching is a career or an opportunity, or something that you're looking like, oh, I never made it in basketball, baby, I'm about to go preach. Like, it's a very dangerous thing. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to want to preach. I'm saying it makes it dangerous. Remember, we're not talking about either or, we're talking about and, right? And so a lot of churches find themselves in compromising position because they need the money. So if you got a member there, let's say the member is selling who knows what, who knows where and why, who and why, like, you might be a little reluctant to preach against that sin if that, you know, member is a given member and they giving a lot, and you find yourself in a position where you like, I need this money. And so, hey, I need this money. So I need Sister Shirley to give $100, even though I know her light's about to be out, or you know, her grass ain't been cut in 6 months. Sister Shirley, I need this $100 to pay this light bill at the church. So I think that's one of the reasons it happens. We often dive right in without counting up the cost. Amen. That's the words of Jesus. He told the disciples to count up the cost before they follow him. And so a lot of times, to your point, Crystal, a lot of people start churches and they haven't actually understood what it's going to cost. So then you find yourself let me tell you, in a position where you need money. One of the most compromising positions and situations you could be in life is a situation to need money. Because in any area of life, man, it puts a lot of pressure on people when they need money or when you love money, right? Loving money is really bad, right? Because you may not even need it and love it. But needing money is a tough space to be. People have done all type of horrible things in life and compromised their own values and belief systems for money because it is a stressful area to be in life. So I want to give you a couple tips. As I'm talking about this, it's not just to be negative, and I'm going to get to some of the positive sides as well. My belief is that this is why it's valuable to learn about money and become financially literate. Because if you take time and learn about money, right? Let's say you're a pastor and you learn for your own life about money and you learn how to manage it in your own life. And you put yourself in a position where now, let's say you start a church and you're not compromised. You're not vulnerable because you're taken care of. You are, and let me say this. I'm not saying you have to be well off to start a church. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about your mindset and literacy and understanding and being structured and founded in a way that you can take something and invest in it and grow it, right? In a way that you actually know how to steward the money even that you receive from the people. The thing is, if you find yourself in that position where you're not vulnerable or compromised because you have structure and foundation financially, now you are not at the mercy of the givers. Because what a lot of people do is they use their money as they get mad. I ain't giving this, all right? And again, when you're in a position you need money, it's a very compromising thing. Let's talk about this last thing that's maybe negative, and then I'll get into some positives about money. For the church side, at least. This is a very tough one, y'all. Very tough one. One of the problems with the church with money is that too many times the money flows to the top. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that if I go to your church and I've been at your church 20 years and I've been broke for 20 years, but the church is thriving. The church just remodeled. The church did this. You got this, right? Whatever. The problem is if that is never flowing to me, but for years I'm giving, then I believe there's a missed opportunity on the church side to actually educate the people about money. So what do I mean about this? I think there's value in teaching people about money to make them literate versus trying to coerce or persuade people to give money. I'm going to be very clear. We spend more time in church trying to persuade people to give money versus teach people about money because I think we're afraid that if they learn about money, that they won't give it to us. There's a weird dynamic there. That's just a thought. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying there's something that I've seen where it seems like the focus is more persuasive than educating. And I'm going to tell you the value of education. People give their money to things they believe in. If the church focused more on being financially literate and promoting education and financial literacy to the members, and I know some churches do it. I've sat at churches on panels multiple times this year talking about financials, career, growth, all that stuff. Remember, I want to see the church grow. I'm not talking negatively about the church to beat the church down. This is about a self-development because I am part of the church. So this is a self-development opportunity for us all and how we talk about these things. And this is why I go to churches and I will sit on a panel and talk about these type of things because I think when you teach people about something and they're educated, now they can make an educated decision, right? Now, think about this. If you are a part of my fellowship, my community, my church, and you have money, and you have money, and we've taught each other how to have money. And maybe it ain't about the amount of money that you got, but you're a good steward of your money. Remember the parable of the talents in Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30 is really about this stewardship idea with money. So one of the mistakes we make with money is we focus on the amount versus the stewardship. So it should be more about what you do with your money versus do you have more money than me? But again, money is a polarizing topic, and people tend to focus on the amount versus how you're managing it, right? So I'm a believer that it's about being a good steward of your money. But if we're part of this community and we all start being good stewards of our money, then the community grows. The church will grow. You can't be afraid to teach people the truth, to feel like if they know the truth, now I can no longer manipulate them and just make them give money because they're scared. All right, now let's talk about the other side. So that was for the side of like, remember, money is good and bad. That was really some of the challenges that I believe the church faces as far as money, and maybe some of the areas that we focus too much on money and things. But let me talk about the other side of it. On the other side